we had a disease at the end of 2014 that was like wildfire spreading across the reef tract. And really, it was like leprosy. The tissue was melting off of the coral. And so that's actually what shifted my whole career. So essentially, I mean, we had very healthy, thriving reefs even prior to 2014. I grew up diving very beautiful, vibrant ecosystems. And we had there, Port of Miami did a dredge expansion for the port at the end of 2014. There was also a simultaneous sewage leak a little bit towards the Keys. Right after both of those happening, if you think about it, if you're dredging and digging sand that's been settled for hundreds of years, you don't know what kind of bacteria and viruses you're lifting up into the water column. And so right after that happened, we had this boom disease outbreak and it spread all the way down the reef tract, really affecting those stony corals, which are the ones that provide that habitat. They build the complexity in the reef relief. And so I, at the time, was initially studying, again, biomedical research. So I'm looking at these mucal layers from these corals that have powerful secondary metabolites to help cure different cancers. And I'm looking at these corals as I joined the scientific diving program and was monitoring these reefs during this time period. And I'm watching these coral colonies that are much older than me, hundreds of years old, die in just 3 days. Not on the news. No one's talking about it off of someone's multi-million-dollar mansion in Miami. And that gutted me. That shifted my whole career to, not only can these corals quite literally help save people, we have to help protect them. We don't even know how much we will need them in the future. So I shifted my whole career to really be a voice for the ocean and focus on scalable restoration. I did my master's in marine ecology, got to work with oyster and mangrove restoration. My PhD was conservation genetics, and I worked on really using today's tools to make more informed decisions about restoration. So we looked at genetics for microbiomes of, what makes healthy coral immunity, just like we can take probiotics and there's bacteria that impact our gut and health overall. Same thing for marine environments. We developed microsatellites for scallops so we can actually look at genetic parentage analysis and making sure we're making the most informed decisions on biodiversity. So I really delved into the specifics about doing applied restoration that's ecologically contextual, but then really got to a point where I was like, wow, I could spend my whole life doing restoration, but until you actually shift people's relationships, you're not going to create a change. And that's what really led through my nonprofit. But to tailor back to your question, we've had gorgeous reef systems. There really was just less awareness, I'd say, about it in the past. And when this disease happened, everyone now is aware of coral bleaching. They're aware that these reefs are dying, but they're also not aware of how they can actually make a direct impact and be able to help as part of that restoration. I think that's been one of the bottlenecks is people really don't see where they can make a difference. They feel like they're too small. And that's really not the truth. If everyone took ownership and responsibility of their own sector of where they live, if you can imagine if everybody did, even if it's 1 to 5 good things a day out in the environment, whether that's picking up trash, whether that's maybe taking a little bit of a few minute less shower, there's that as a collective action makes such a huge impact. And something we take pride in as an organization is providing direct, measurable, and tangible ways that everyone can make an impact. So you can outplant a coral with us. You can actually come and get engaged yourself. You can create your own reef and you can even share different messages. So there's so many ways that people can engage now. It's really, no excuse. We need people to step forward and become, join the wave of action really. But I think what's interesting, so many people have gone diving all over the world, but we actually have these beautiful gems right here in Florida. It still do, even though the reef tract still needs a lot of help. I mean, gorgeous diving off of Lauderdale by the Sea, throughout the Florida Keys as well. There's some deeper reefs that are just gorgeous. And, we want to help get them back to good condition too. So there's a lot of hope, but there's definitely a lot of action that needs to be taken.